Hello, in today's video we will make deep dive into Furina's kit. We'll understand how her skills are working, what healers can be used with her, and how she interacts with different artifacts and weapons. Is Furina's mod broken Hydra support? Let's find out. Furina. It's been a while, but I finally level up her. It was really painful to grind these flowers. Everyone needed them. Anyways, I finished and right now my Furina on the decent level of investments. She's level 90, high level is pretty important for the HP scaling characters, and her important talents on level 8. And because Furina is a really huge topic, she can be used in a lot of different variety of the teams. Today we will not be building a team with her. Today we will test how Furina interacts with the different mechanics of the game and how Furina's kit is working. Furina's kit. What is Furina? Furina is sub DPS and the buffer, and the good thing, she is good at both. She is dealing damage with her skill and she buffs all of your teammates with her burst. Let's break down it and let's start with the skill. When we're using skill, we are creating 3 summons. Each of them has individual scaling, attack speed and hydro application. Let's start with the Seahorse. Seahorse has lowest scaling and fastest attack speed. On talent level 9 we have 5% scaling, attack speed 1.19 seconds, and it will apply Hydra every 2 hits. And with this stat, Seahorse would be our main Hydra applicator. But Seahorse are only against single targets. His shooting attacks doesn't have any area damage, and he is shooting enemies from 9.5 meter distance. And now for the Octopus. He has 9.5% scaling, attack speed 2.9 seconds, and the same Hydra application 2 hits. And he will be our worst Hydra applier, almost 6 seconds for Hydra application. But he has small area on his attack and sometimes can hit multiple enemies. And he is attacking enemies from 6 meter distance. And last one is the Crab, and Crab has highest scaling. On talent level 8 we have 13%, attack speed 4.8 seconds, and she will apply Hydra with every hit. And Crab would be our main Hydra applier against multiple targets, because she has biggest area on her hits. She is charging on enemies from 20 meter distance with explosion in the end. And if we put everything together, I would say her Hydra application is medium. As you can see, we are not creating a lot of danger cost, but this application is definitely enough for freeze teams. In Bloom teams she will compensate lack of danger cost with her personal damage and buffs, and in Pyro Vape teams you would need another Hydra. One huge thing that I want to mention about her skill. This is the first time when we're getting summon that follow you everywhere. And even if you teleport all across the table, they will be there for you. And I would say this is very important, because people was asking for this for many years since Kokami was released. And finally we're getting this implement in the game, so huge respect for that. And now we're moving for the healing part of her skill. And 99% of the time you would not use Furina's healing. And it's because it has pretty huge downsides. First of all, it's not healing fast enough. Second, it's not following your character like damage once. Third, it's healing only on-field character. And with Furina you want team-wide healing. And the main reasons, with healing your fanfare generation for the burst is almost 0. And you're losing all your Hydra application, because the statue doesn't interact with the enemies. Anyways, her healing has upsides too. First of all, it's the whole additional utility that built in her kit, and you are not forced to use it. Basically, you can just ignore it and you will lose nothing. Second, very easy access to healing. It's the skill with 0 energy requirements and you not even losing cooldown on it, because you can switch between healing and damage anytime that you want. Third, even though this totem is not following you, it has very big radius and you don't need to stand close to the totem to be healed. And I cannot say that her heal is 100% useless. Because of the big radius, it's really great healing tool in co-op fights. This healing can be used in Overwall and sometimes even in Spiral Abyss. If you have enough time, in the end of the fight you can heal your characters before next chamber, and you will spend 0 energy to do so. And that's it for Furina's skill for now. And now I'm moving for the buffing part of her kit, and it's her burst. On talent level 8 you can buff your damage up to 63%, and right now it's the biggest damage percentage buff in the game. Another thing that I want to mention, it's buffing all of your team, and even if character doesn't stay on the field, it will receive the buff. As example, Nahida's elemental mastery buff applied to only on-field character, and our sub DPS characters doesn't benefit from it. And that's why Furina's all team buff is very important part of her kit. A lot of the time not snapshotting characters like Xingqiu, Yelan or Yaemika are getting almost zero buff from their teammates, and even without buff they are outputting huge part of the team's overall damage. But Furina changing this subject, and with her buff not only your main DPS will become stronger, but all of your team will become stronger. Yes, we understood that Furina's buff is good, but it has some downsides. First of all, you need time to get this buff at full potential. To gain potency of the buff, you need to gain fanfare stacks. Fanfare stacks is gained when one of your teammates is gaining or losing HP. And here our summoning trio comes into play again, because they are damaging our own team. And let's calculate how much fanfare stacks they are generating. Seahorse is attacking every 1.19 seconds, and with 4 teammates this would be 6.4 fanfare stacks per hit. Octopus is attacking every 2.9 seconds and generating 9.6 stacks per hit. Crab is attacking every 4.8 seconds, and this would be 14.4 stacks with every hit. And if we combine everything together, all 3 of them will generate around 11.68 stack per second. And if we test this in the game, our burst is ending right after 200 farfar stacks evasion, which is in line with our calculations. This is definitely not enough farfar stack generation, and to make everything work we need a healer, and not a healer team-wide healer, because we're gaining farfar stacks from healing too. 2-slot character. To make Furina's kit work, you need to sacrifice 2 slots in your team, and this sounds like a very bad thing, but we already have this in the game everywhere. To make danger DPS work, we need Electra applier. For the Pyra characters with good ICD, we need strong Hydra applicator. Some main DPS characters require their dedicated support, and Furina made it obvious, she wants really good healers in your team. Of course, we have some exceptions that doesn't follow this rule, but in most of her team's healers is must-have. And we can divide these healers in 3 categories: burst type healers, drivers, and hybrid type. Burst type healers can heal all of your team in one click, either it's skill or burst, and after that they mainly starts to heal only your active character. And you need to keep it in mind, because if your team has almost full HP, you will not generate a lot of fanfare stacks. So in your rotation, first you want to drain your team's HP, and after that use their healing to gain huge boost to your farfare stacks. And let's quickly look at them one by one and talk about their strong sides. First will be Baiju, and we have his banner with Furina for a reason, because they are working extremely well together. Strong sides of the Baiju: first, he is healing with the skill that have 0 energy requirements and only 10 seconds cooldown. Second, he is a Dendra character that has off-field Dendra application. Yes, his Dendra application is not strong, but most of the time it's enough. Third, he is not only healer, he can buff Dendra reactions. And because of this, he is the best choice in any Dendra team that uses Furina. Now let's move for the Charlotte. And yes, Charlotte was released with Furina for a reason too. First of all, she is a really good healer that can out-heal Furina's damage even with sub-DPS artifacts. Second, Charlotte has long off-field cry application with 0 energy requirements. And yes, Charlotte would be appreciated if any free teams that using Furina. Now about Jhin. Of course, Jhin's healing is really good, and this would be enough to out-heal Furina's damage. And Jhin's strong side is Anima element. Existence of very decent finisher set makes almost any Anima character in the game is a viable support. And because of this, Jhin would be very appreciated in any team that use swirlable elements. Mika. And first thing about Mika, his healing is not that strong like Jhin's or Charlotte's, so you need at least to build him with a lot of HP. But he has a lot of utility for physical characters in his kit. Yes, his kit is problematic, but he's still the best physical support in the game. And sometimes you can use him in some meme builds because of his attack speed buff. And now we're moving for the drivers. Drivers is a healer that require you to stay on the field with them. Most of the time they have small but continuous healing. Even though it doesn't matter when you will use them to gain fanfare stacks, most of the time you will use them last in your rotations. And let's start with the queen of driver healing, Kokomi. First of all, she has fastest healing, so you will gain farfar stacks in no time. Other her strong side is the variety. You can make her either good buffer with Thrilling Tales and Tenacity of Millilith set, or you can increase her personal damage with the Clam set. So she will be a really great option for the transformative reaction teams, like Electro Charge or Bloom related. Next driver is Yao Yao, and her healing is very good too. Even if you build her as a DPS or sub DPS, she would still heal a lot with her burst. Other strong sides, Dendra element, which can unlock Dendro resonance for the team. And sometimes her personal damage can be impressive against single targets, and she is very good option for some Dendro teams. Next driver is Noelle. First of all, her healing is slow, but it is enough. And her main strong side is herself. She is hyper carry with shield and team-wide healing in her kit. And even after yes, she is the best Swiss knife type character in the game. Most of the time you want to build hyper carry build around her, but sometimes you can just use her as a very durable driver. And the last one is the Chichi. And now we are moving for the hybrid healers. And they can do both. They have one massive team-wide healing in their kit, and they can make continuous team-wide healing if you are using them on the field. Let's start with Barbara. And the main strong side of Barbara is that you will receive her for free almost in the start of the game. On top of that, her healing is very good, and she is the catalyst user that can utilize thrilling tales. But her main problem, everything that she does can be done with other character but better. Because of this, her main usage is starter teams for the new players that doesn't have a lot of characters, mostly Electro Charge or Hyper Bloom. Now let's move to Sayu. And Sayu's main problem is that her burst healing is not strong enough, and you would need to use her driver utility to compensate that. Her strong side, of course, anime element that can utilize very decent veneer set, and she can trigger swirls more often than Jin. And because of more swirls, you can give her a try in transformative reaction teams. And that's it for the healers. Furina and Snapshotting. Now let's test how Furina works with snapshottable characters. For non-snapshottable characters, it's understandable from scratch. As example characters like Nahida, Yelan, Xingzi or Yaemika will receive the buff no matter what. If Furina's burst is running, they will receive damage buff even if you use them off-field. But what about snapshottable characters like Shangling, Fischl, Ayaka or Rosaria? Let's quickly explain what snapshotting is for the new players that watching this video. As example, we'll be using most popular snapshotting duo Bennett and Shangling. When you're using Shangling's burst in Bennett circle, it will remember your stats at the moment you cast it. And after that, it doesn't matter. You can leave the circle, you can switch the character, you will do the same damage because you already received the buff. But some buffs in this game cannot be snapshotted. As example, all crit damage buff from dedicated 4-star supports. And what we want from Furina? In most cases, snapshotting is a good thing. But in case of Furina, I think we want not snapshottable buff. Because it's easier to activate her burst at full potential, we need time. Because we don't want to waste our skills or burst on very small potency buff. And to test how everything works, we will be using Fischl. Fischl's skill can snapshot, and I think we'll be using Fischl in Furina's teams a lot. And let's see. And right now, if Fischl damage will be increasing by small steps, that means everything working how we want. And we're starting with 6600, 6700, yes! 7800. Every time we're gaining farfar stacks, Fischl damage is increasing, and this is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. It makes Furina best team-wide buffer in the game right now. And do you see how much damage we've done to the boss with only Furina and Fischl skill? That's very impressive, but we're moving for the next topic. HP or Hydro Damage Bonus Goblet. In this game, all damage percentage multipliers are the same multiplier, and Furina has highest damage percentage buff in the game right now. So if you use Hydro Damage Bonus Goblet, it's not exactly 48% damage increase. And sometimes it could be better to increase your base scaling, in Furina case with HP Goblet. Right now Furina can use 2 artifact sets. First Golden Troop, this set was designed for her. This set focuses on her personal damage, but this set gives us another damage percentage multiplier again. Another set is Tenacity of Millelith, and with Tenacity Furina will deal less damage. But sometimes it doesn't matter, sometimes you just want your main DPS to hit harder. And this set will help you with that with 20% attack buff. And this buff is team-wide, which in line with Furina's team-wide buff. And we'll test difference between HP and Hydro Damage Bonus Goblets on both these sets. We'll start with Golden Troop, and with Golden Troop we'll have insane 70% damage bonus multiplier. We're definitely getting diminishing returns on that. First will be Hydro Damage Bonus Goblet. And with Hydro Damage Bonus Goblet we have almost 31,000 HP and 9193 crit ratio. We'll be measuring Seahorse damage because it's attack fastest, and we are not starting with a full potency buff, so we need to see how our damage grows. So let's see, let's use Furina's burst, and first Seahorse attack 6700. Second 75, another 75. Let's use Charlotte to gain farfar stacks, and 78, HD4. And last farfar evasion, and last 92. That's the reason why we was using Seahorse as our measurement tool, because our damage needs to be ramped up first. And now we're moving for HP Goblet. I found Goblet with almost similar crit damage, and crit rate difference will be fixed with the food buff, so we will have pretty fair result. And with HP Goblet we will have 38,000 HP and 99,193 crit ratio. And let's see how this will go now. So starting with Furina's skill, Furina's burst, and first attack 6800, which is already 100 more than Hydro Damage Bonus Goblet. So using healing, waiting for last evasion, and last evasion, and attack 9700. And as expected for Golden Troop, HP Goblet is better. And I was surprised that even starting damage is 100 more than Hydro Damage Bonus. And if we level up our talents for better HP scaling and more damage percentage buff, the difference would be even higher. Now we're moving for Tenacity, and with Tenacity we don't have any damage percentage buffs, but we have HP on the set. Probably we would get opposite result, but anyways, let's test. We'll be using this same goblet starting with Hydro Damage Bonus, and stats would be 33,000 HP and 110 100 HTH crit ratio. And let's see how this will go this time. So using Furina's burst, and first hit 5700. So let's use Charlotte's burst to gain stacks. Right now 6700, 71, last farfar evasion, and 76, 70H93. So the last hit 70H93. Now let's move to the same HP goblet that we was using previously, and the stats would be 40,000 HP, this is exactly how much we need for her Accession passive, and 100 H10, 100 H9 crit ratio. Let's see how this will go. So using Furina's burst, and first damage 5459. Using Charlotte to gain farfar stacks, and 64, 69, 72, 77, 78, 80, 8000, and this is an expected result. With Hydro Damage Bonus we started with better damage, but when we've got farfar stacks, HP Damage Goblet starting to do better damage, even with Tenacity of Millilith set. But which of them is better? Right now my Furina on talents level 8 and 9, and I'm planning to double crown her. With skill level up we will gain more HP scaling, with burst level up we will gain more damage percentage, and both of these improvements will benefit HP Goblet more. So on higher talents HP Goblet is more preferable than Hydro Damage Bonus even on Tenacity of Millilith. Quick disclaimer, all this test was made with crit rate weapon, and if you're using HP weapon like Key of Kajni Suit on new 4-star sword, your result could be different. And now let's move for the next topic, Furina and Artifacts. And now we'll test how Furina interact with other artifacts. Some artifacts in this game require you to take damage to be activated. Let's start with Marachu's Hunter. This set can increase your crit rate up to 36% when your HP is increasing or decreasing. And of course it will work with Furina, but anyways, let's make quick test to prove that everything works. Right now my Furina has 45% crit rate, and if we use Furina's skill, take a little bit of damage. And now let's look at our stats, and we have HT1% crit rate. Everything working perfectly fine. Now let's move for the Vorukasha Glow. And this set require you to take damage. And this when problem starts, because take damage is not equal to lose HP. This set will not work, and let's prove it. First we're going without Furina, using Lila's burst, and it's doing 3100, 3157. And now with Furina, using Furina's skill, taking a little bit of damage, and burst doing the same 3157 damage. So it's clearly not working. And at this point I don't even know why this set exists in the game. Originally this set was designed for DE, but it's not even her best in slot set. Now let's move to the set that I am very interested for, Vermilion. This set can increase your attack up to 48%, and we have HP decrease in the description. So everything should work perfectly fine, and let's prove it. So right now Chichi has 1000 attack, and if we use Furina's skill, then going to Chichi, using Chichi's burst, now we're losing HP, and now let's check our attack, and we have almost 1200 attack, and as expected everything working really good. So Furina unlocked us 2 out of 3 sets. With Marachu's Hunter everything was understandable, it's Fontaine set after all, but I'm glad that we can use this set on any character in Furina teams right now. But I'm more interested in Vermilion set, because this set is giving you attack. Bennett is not welcomed guest in Furina teams, and they're working together very poorly. And because of this we are not getting a lot of attack buffs in her teams, and attack may have higher value than other buffs. So in the future I'm willing to spend resin on this domain and test this set on some characters. Furina and Weapons. Let's quickly talk about Fontaine craftable weapons, and Furina doesn't interact with them directly. To activate this weapon you need a healer, and Furina makes healers more viable, which makes Fontainian's weapon more viable too. Good thing about this weapon, all of these weapons can be activated off-field, even Bond of Life ones. And these weapons' passives are good, and I mean some of them are really good. And I was previously saying that crafting some of those are questionable decision, but right now they have very good value, and it was to spend your prototypes on them. Serpent Spine, one of the best battle pass weapons in the game. It can increase your damage up to 50%, but if you take damage you are losing stacks, and I'm interested how this will work with Furina. In description we have take damage, and take damage effects can be activated through shields. As example, Diluc C2. If Diluc protected by a shield and taking a hit, he will still receive the buff, even though he doesn't lost any HP. But if you are taking a hit protected by a shield with Serpent Spine, you are not losing stacks. So Serpent Spine take damage effect doesn't work like other take damage effects. So let's see how Furina will interact with that. Right now we have 5 swords flying around us, and this is Serpent Spine stacks. So let's use Furina skill and take some damage. So yes, we are losing HP, but as you can see, we are not losing Serpent Spine stacks. This is surprising for me. I thought that Serpent Spine wouldn't work with Furina, but they are working perfectly fine, and this is really great news. Prototype Ember. We have weapon in the game that can fulfill a role of team-wide healing, but there is a problem. It's healing for only 18% HP, and Furina will drown HP of your team down to 50%. And even with Furina's healing increase from her burst, even with healing artifact, this is not enough. This could work for the 1 rotation, but from 2nd rotation everything starting falling apart, and we're losing more HP than we're gaining. But I think we have the way to make Prototype Ember work. We can combine Prototype Ember with single target healer. They're not working by their own, but together they can trigger Furina's Accession passive, which is small team-wide healing by the way. And first I've tried this idea with Bennett. I went for the 2 rotation fight. On the 1st rotation everything was alright, but on the 2nd rotation everything went not as planned. Yes, Bennett cannot heal you if you are above 70% HP, and this is the big problem. We need healer that can heal you always. The second team that I've tried was with Cookie, and this time everything went very nice. I went against Giant Dorito boss in Spiral Abyss, and we destroyed this boss in 45 seconds, and in the end HP of the team was on the reasonable value. So I'm assuming that Prototype Ember can work if you give this weapon some help. I think we can make some interesting teams with Diona, but unfortunately my Diona is not level up right now. Furina and other Hydro characters. And the question here, does Furina replace some older Hydro character and made them completely useless? And the short answer is no. Right now Furina's place in Hydro family is something between Yelan and Mona, and she took the best parts out of these two. She has massive buff that affecting all of your team like Mona, and off-field Hydro application that doesn't require to use normal attacks. And from Yelan she took way better buff uptime and very good off-field damage. But does this make Mona and Yelan useless? No, it's not. Mona was mostly used in damage per screenshot showcases, and because Mona can use Thrilling Tales, she's still better for damage per screenshots. For attack scaling teams, Yelan was mostly used as a Hydra support in Vaporized teams, and because her Hydra application is still way better than Furina's, she is not going anywhere. Now for the Sim2, and Furina doesn't affect his value too. He's still the best Hydra applier in the game, and I'm thinking his defensive utility are becoming more and more valuable, because new Fontainian enemies hit him like a trucks, and his damage reduction comes in handy. And Fontaine enemies has a lot of staggers and stun locks, so his resistance to interruptions are very valuable too. So I don't think that Sim2 will be replaced by any other character very soon. Before Furina release, I personally thought that she will replace Kokomi, but Furina in healing mode doesn't have any Hydro application. So Kokom is still the only character that have decent off-field Hydro application that doesn't require to use normal attacks combined with the healing. So Furina made Hydro element stronger and added variety to the Hydro teams, but she hasn't replaced any other Hydro support. All of them are still very usable and have their utility. Conclusion. What my personal thoughts about Furina? Is she a game changer? Yes, it is. But I'm thinking it's not because of her high personal damage, it's not because she has highest damage percentage buff in the game, it's because she is buffing all of your team. Right now a lot of the teams are made around your main DPS, and sub DPSs are not getting a lot of love, but Furina can drastically change impact of sub DPS characters, and this is very beneficial for mobile players. Yes, you are seeing that all content creators are playing on PC, but it's only because it's a lot easier to make videos on PC. Majority of the players are still using mobile phone, and Furina unlocking very easy play style. You can just throw a couple of sub DPSs in the team, use Furina's abilities, and after that they will do everything for you. So I'm thinking the sub DPSs are gain most value with Furina release. So what your thoughts about Furina? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for the watching, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.